Diana Al-Sharif was a woman of focus and determination. Her legal career was more than just a job, it was a calling. She was known for her sharp intellect and keen sense of justice, earning her a sterling reputation in her city's most competitive courtrooms. But beneath the polished exterior of the ambitious lawyer was someone yearning for a connection that transcended her professional accomplishments. Diana had spent countless hours in the pursuit of success, yet something vital seemed to be missing. Then came Karim, a man whose arrival felt less like coincidence and more like destiny. Tall, broad-shouldered, and impossibly charming, he exuded an effortless charisma that immediately caught her attention. Diana had seen confident men before. She debated them in court, negotiated deals with them, and occasionally dismissed them outright. But Karim was different. He had a way of looking at her that seemed to pierce straight through the armor she had built, a way of making her feel as if she were the only person in the room. Their meeting was serendipitous, unfolding on a warm spring evening at a mutual friends' gathering. Karim's voice carried a rich, velvety tone as he introduced himself. His handshake was firm yet gentle, his words laced with genuine interest in her opinions. He wasn't just engaging, he was magnetic. What began as polite conversation quickly turned into a spirited dialogue, and by the time the evening was over, Diana found herself smiling in a way she hadn't in years. The days that followed brought a whirlwind of moments that felt straight out of a romance novel. Karim had a knack for making the ordinary extraordinary. A simple lunch date became an intimate exchange of dreams and stories. An evening walk through the city's historic district turned into a magical journey under the glow of antique street lamps. With each encounter, Diana found herself more captivated. Karim was not just a man of wealth and stature. He was thoughtful, witty, and deeply passionate about life. He spoke of his aspirations, his family, and the legacy he hoped to leave behind, and every word seemed to resonate with the unspoken desires of Diana's heart. Before long, it was clear to both of them that this was not a fleeting affair. Karim's declarations of love were bold yet tender, and Diana found herself trusting him in ways she never thought possible. He made her feel safe and cherished, but most importantly, he made her feel seen. She wasn't just Diana the lawyer in his eyes, she was Diana the dreamer, the romantic, the woman who deserved to be adored. As their relationship deepened, so too did the scope of their dreams. They envisioned a future together, a partnership built on mutual respect and unwavering affection. Karim often spoke of a grand life filled with adventure and purpose, and Diana began to believe in those possibilities. With him, she could imagine a world where she wasn't simply battling legal battles. She was building a home, sharing in life's joys, and creating memories that would last a lifetime. The proposal was nothing short of breathtaking. Karim had arranged a private dinner on a secluded terrace overlooking the sea. The gentle crash of the waves and the glow of candlelight set the stage, but it was Karim's heartfelt words that made the evening unforgettable. As he slipped a stunning ring onto her finger, Diana felt a profound sense of belonging. This was more than just a romantic gesture, it was a promise that their love would always be worth fighting for. Their wedding day arrived like a dream realized. The cathedral was a vision of elegance, adorned with cascading floral arrangements and the soft glow of candlelight. Diana walked down the aisle with a calm confidence, her white gown flowing gracefully behind her. The guests rose in admiration, but Diana barely noticed. Her gaze was locked on Karim, who stood at the altar with an expression of pure adoration. He looked at her as if she were a miracle, and in that moment, Diana felt as though she truly was. The ceremony was a symphony of love and commitment. When Karim took her hands and spoke his vows, his voice was steady and filled with emotion. "I, Karim, take you, Diana, to be my wife," he began, each word resonating with sincerity. "I promise to love you, honor you, and stand by your side through every triumph and challenge." Diana's own vows flowed naturally from her heart. "I, Diana, take you, Karim, to be my husband. I promise to cherish you, support you, and share my life with you, now and forever." Their voices mingled with the solemn grace of the priest's blessings, and when they finally kissed, the applause from the congregation felt like a thunderous affirmation of their union. The reception was a jubilant celebration. The ballroom sparkled under 1,000 glittering chandeliers, the sound of music and laughter filling the air. Friends and family toasted to their happiness, offering heartfelt speeches and fond memories. As Diana and Karim swayed on the dance floor, their first waltz as husband and wife, they felt as though they were in a world all their own. "Are you happy, my love?" Karim whispered, his lips close to her ear. "More than I ever thought possible," Diana replied, her voice thick with emotion. They danced together, lost in the moment, the future spread out before them like a golden horizon. It was a beginning that promised so much, a life filled with love, adventure, and the kind of partnership people dream about. For now, they were wrapped in a blissful bubble, their story unfolding like a fairy tale. The world felt full of endless possibilities, and Diana Al-Sharif stepped into her new life with a heart brimming with hope. It wasn't sudden. No, the cracks appeared gradually, like a steady drip of water hollowing out the strongest stone. Diana, who once thought her marriage unbreakable, began to notice the subtle but unmistakable shifts in Karim's behavior. He would come home late, long after dinner had gone cold, with excuses that sounded just a little too rehearsed. "Work's been crazy," he would say, or "the client meeting ran over." At first, Diana believed him. Why wouldn't she? This was the man who had vowed to love and honor her, the man who had made her feel like the only woman in the world. But as the weeks turned into months, those late nights became more frequent, and the distance between them began to grow. Conversations over breakfast turned into polite nods. Evenings once filled with shared laughter became evenings spent in separate rooms. Diana found herself lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering when she had started to feel so alone in a house that was supposed to be their home. She told herself it was just a phase, that every couple went through rough patches. Yet, deep down, she couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something wasn't right. And then there was the perfume. Subtle at first, a faint trace on Karim's shirt collar when he kissed her goodnight. But soon it became impossible to ignore, a delicate, floral scent that wasn't hers. It clung to his suits, his car, even the papers he brought home from work. Diana told herself it could be anything. Maybe a colleague's perfume in a crowded elevator, or the scent of someone sitting too close at a meeting. But the doubt had taken root, and it grew stronger with each passing day. One evening, as Diana was hanging up Karim's jacket, her fingers brushed against a piece of folded paper in the inside pocket. Her heart sank. With trembling hands, she unfolded it, and the words scrawled in elegant, unfamiliar handwriting made her stomach turn. "Last night was unforgettable. I can't wait to see you again. Love, Jay." It was as if the ground beneath her had given way. The suspicions she had tried so hard to suppress came crashing down like a tidal wave. There it was, undeniable proof that her husband, the man she had trusted with her heart, was having an affair. When Karim came home that night, Diana was waiting for him. She held the note in her hand, her face pale and her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "What is this, Karim?" she asked, her voice shaking. For a moment, he looked at her as if he didn't understand. But as his eyes landed on the note, his expression changed. He tried to stammer out an explanation, but the words stuck in his throat. "It's not what you think," he began, but Diana cut him off. "Don't lie to me," she said, her voice rising. "How long has this been going on?" Karim sighed, running a hand through his hair. He looked more annoyed than remorseful, and that only added fuel to the fire burning inside Diana. "A few months," he admitted finally, his tone flat. "It wasn't supposed to happen. I never meant to hurt you." "Then why?" Diana demanded, her voice breaking. "Was I not enough for you? Were our vows just words?" Karim didn't answer. Instead, he turned away, his silence speaking louder than any excuse he could have offered. For Diana, it was the final blow. All the love, all the trust she had built her life around was now in ruins. She felt as though she had been holding onto a fragile glass sculpture, only to watch it shatter in her hands. The confrontation that followed was raw, painful, and unrelenting. Diana screamed, she cried, she demanded answers. Karim tried to explain, but his words felt hollow. Each attempt at justification only deepened the wound. "You're always working," he said at one point, his tone defensive. "You're never around. And whose fault is that?" Diana shot back. "I worked to build a life for us. I was there for you every step of the way. I loved you with everything I had. But love, it seemed, wasn't enough." After hours of heated arguments, tearful accusations, and deafening silences, Diana made the decision that she never thought she would have to make. "Leave," she said finally, her voice drained of all emotion. "Just go." Karim hesitated for a moment, as if he might try to fight for her, but then he nodded. He gathered his things without a word, leaving behind the echo of what once was. As the door closed behind him, the weight of the silence settled over Diana. She collapsed onto the couch, her tears falling freely now. The life she had dreamed of, the future she had envisioned, was gone. In its place was an emptiness she didn't know how to fill. The days that followed were a blur of numbness and disbelief. Diana went through the motions of her life, showing up at work, answering emails, making dinner for one. But inside, she felt hollow. She replayed every moment of their marriage in her mind, searching for the moment when it all went wrong. Was it something she had done? Could she have prevented it? These questions haunted her, but no answers came. Over time, the bitterness began to fade, replaced by a quiet sadness. Diana knew that she would never be the same again, but she also knew that she couldn't live in the shadow of her failed marriage forever. Slowly, she began to pick up the pieces. She focused on her career, leaned on her friends, and started to rebuild the life she had lost. And while the scars of Kareem's betrayal would never fully heal, Diana found a sense of strength in her resilience. What once seemed like an insurmountable loss became the foundation for a new chapter. Diana learned that even the deepest wounds could become a source of strength, and though the pain of the past lingered, it no longer defined her. The fractured marriage that had once been her world was now a memory, a painful reminder of what she had endured, and a testament to the strength she never knew she had. When the dust settled, Diana Al-Sharif found herself standing in the wreckage of her old life. The marriage she once cherished was over, and the dreams she had built with Kareem were gone. Yet, within that emptiness, a quiet determination began to stir. It started with her career. As a lawyer, Diana had always been driven, but now her work became more than just a job. It became a lifeline. She poured herself into every case, every brief, every argument in court. Each success was a reminder that she was still capable, still strong. The courtroom became her stage, her place to reclaim her sense of worth and identity. But the work, as rewarding as it was, wasn't enough to fill the void completely. That's where Salma came in. Diana's best friend since their university days, Salma was a constant presence, always ready with a kind word, a listening ear, or a much-needed laugh. It was Salma who convinced Diana to leave the apartment she had once shared with Kareem and move into a place of her own. It was Salma who reminded Diana that she didn't have to face her challenges alone. With her support, Diana began to find joy in the little things again, decorating her new apartment, rediscovering hobbies she had once loved, and simply laughing without feeling weighed down by heartache. Then came the day that would change Diana's life forever. She had been feeling unwell for weeks, nausea that wouldn't fade, an exhaustion that no amount of rest could cure. At first, she chalked it up to stress. After all, she was juggling a demanding job and trying to rebuild her life from the ground up. But when the symptoms persisted, she decided to take a pregnancy test, more out of curiosity than suspicion. As the results appeared, Diana felt the world tilt beneath her feet. Positive. She was pregnant. At first, the news was overwhelming. She sat in her tiny bathroom, staring at the test in disbelief. How could this be happening now, when she was finally starting to find her footing again? But as the shock gave way, something remarkable happened. Diana's hands moved instinctively to her stomach, and a sense of protectiveness washed over her. She wasn't just rebuilding her life for herself anymore. She was now responsible for someone else, for two new lives growing inside her. The realization brought a strange mix of fear and hope. Diana knew it wouldn't be easy, but she also knew she would do whatever it took to give her children the life they deserved. Salma was the first person Diana told. Her best friend arrived at Diana's apartment as soon as she got the call, her arms full of groceries and her face full of concern. When Diana whispered the news, "I'm pregnant, Salma." With twins, her friend's expression shifted from shock to a broad, reassuring smile. "We've got this," Salma said confidently, and in that moment, Diana knew she wouldn't be alone. From then on, everything Diana did was with her twins in mind. She continued her legal work, even as her pregnancy progressed, balancing meetings and court dates with doctor appointments and prenatal classes. Every time she felt a kick or heard the sound of her baby's heartbeats, her resolve grew stronger. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about building a stable, loving home, a place where her children could grow up feeling safe and cherished. As the months passed, Diana transformed. The woman who had once felt shattered by betrayal became someone almost unrecognizable, resilient, resourceful, and utterly devoted to her unborn children. She learned to manage the demands of single motherhood before her twins even arrived. She took on complex cases at work, proving to her colleagues and herself that she could handle the pressure. When she wasn't in court, she was at home preparing for her babies, assembling cribs, researching parenting techniques, and reading every book she could find on raising twins. By the time Leah and Zaid were born, Diana was ready. Holding them for the first time, she felt a sense of fulfillment that no career victory or romantic relationship had ever given her. They were her everything, her reason to keep going on the hardest days, her source of joy on the darkest nights. She built her world around them, making sure they always had what they needed, whether it was a warm meal, a comforting hug, or a story before bedtime. The challenges were immense. Diana often worked late into the night, drafting legal briefs after the twins had fallen asleep. She spent her weekends balancing client meetings with playdates, juggling the roles of both mother and lawyer without complaint. There were times she felt stretched thin, but she never let it show. To her children, Diana was a pillar of strength, someone who always had the answers, who never let them see her struggle. What they didn't realize was that their smiles and laughter were what kept her going. They gave her a reason to push through every obstacle. Diana's resilience became her defining trait. She learned to navigate the complexities of single motherhood while thriving in her career, proving that she could create a life that was both stable and fulfilling. She found joy in watching her twins grow, in seeing their first steps, hearing their first words, and celebrating their little victories. And though she often felt the weight of doing it all on her own, Diana never let that weight defeat her. She had come too far, fought too hard, to let anything stand in her way. In the end, Diana's journey wasn't just about surviving the pain of her broken marriage. It was about discovering the depth of her own strength and the boundless love she was capable of giving. With every challenge she faced, Diana Al-Sharif proved that she was more than her past, more than her heartbreak. She was a mother, a lawyer, a friend, and above all, a woman who refused to let adversity define her. The life she built for her twins was not only stable and loving, but also a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. And as they grew, so did she, stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. Diana Al-Sharif, now a self-assured, independent woman, standing on the deck of a magnificent luxury cruise ship. The evening sky is painted in hues of gold and lavender, the air fragrant with the salty scent of the open sea. She leans against the railing, her hair catching the breeze, her gaze fixed on the horizon. The ship is a floating paradise, filled with sparkling chandeliers, elegant dining halls, and endless opportunities to relax and explore. For Diana, it's a chance to pause, an escape from the demands of her thriving legal career and the hustle of raising her twins, Leah and Zaid. Leah and Zaid, now 5 years old, are the center of Diana's world. Their laughter echoes as they race each other down the wide corridors of the ship, their excitement infectious. Diana smiles, watching them. They are her pride and joy, a living reminder of the resilience she found within herself. The cruise is supposed to be a celebration of how far she has come, a way to make memories with her children and show them a life filled with adventure and wonder. But the past has a funny way of resurfacing when you least expect it. Diana's peaceful moment on the deck is interrupted when she notices someone sitting near the pool, just a few steps away. It's him, Kareem, the man who shattered her heart and walked away from their marriage. He's older now, his once carefree charm tempered by something deeper, more solemn. For a moment, Diana wonders if her mind is playing tricks on her. What are the odds? And yet, there he is, as real as the sunlight glinting off the waves. Kareem looks up from his drink and their eyes meet. His expression freezes, the same shock reflected in Diana's own face. There is no escaping the weight of the moment. 5 years of unresolved emotions and unanswered questions hang heavy in the air between them. Diana feels her breath catch as memories she thought she had buried come rushing back, the fairy tale romance, the betrayal, the bitter fights, and the strength she summoned to move on without him. Before she can gather her thoughts, Leah and Zaid come running up to her, their little voices excited and oblivious. "Mama, can we go see the pool?" Leah asks, her eyes sparkling. Diana glances at Kareem, whose gaze shifts from her to the children. It doesn't take long for him to realize what she has always known. These are his children. The next few moments are a blur of emotions. Kareem stands, his face pale as he struggles to process what he's seeing. The twins stare up at him curiously, sensing something significant in the way their mother and this stranger look at each other. Finally, Kareem speaks, his voice hesitant, tinged with both wonder and regret. "Are these mine?" Diana doesn't answer right away. Instead, she kneels down beside her children, placing a steadying hand on each of their shoulders. "Kids," she says gently, her voice calm but firm, "this is Kareem. He's your dad." Leah and Zayd's eyes widen, their expressions a mixture of surprise and intrigue. Kareem crouches down to their level, his voice trembling as he says, "Hello, Leah." "Zayd, I'm so sorry I wasn't here before." The twins look at him for a moment, then at Diana. "Really, Mama?" Zayd asks, his tone more curious than accusatory. Diana nods, her heart aching at the confusion in her son's voice. "Yes, sweetheart," she says softly. "He's your father." What follows is a delicate dance of emotions. Kareem tries to connect with the children, his words hesitant but heartfelt. He asks about their favorite toys, their favorite foods, their dreams. Leah, ever perceptive, remains cautious at first, but Zayd's natural curiosity leads him to ask question after question. Diana watches carefully, torn between the instinct to protect her children and the knowledge that they have every right to know their father. As the hours pass, the initial shock gives way to tentative steps toward understanding. The four of them sit by the pool, sharing stories and laughter that feels, for a moment, almost natural. Kareem admits his mistakes, his voice heavy with regret, and promises to do better for the children. Diana, while wary, can't deny the earnestness in his eyes. She knows the path ahead will be far from easy, but she also sees the potential for something new, a chance to rewrite the story, not for her sake, but for the twins. By the time the sun dips below the horizon, casting the sea in a warm, golden glow, Diana feels a shift within herself. This encounter, as unexpected and challenging as it is, has opened a door she never thought she'd face again. Co-parenting with Kareem won't be simple. It will be messy, complicated, and filled with difficult conversations. But as she watches Leah and Zayd run along the deck, their laughter ringing out like music, she realizes that healing is possible, even after all the pain. As the ship sails on, its lights twinkling against the darkening sky, Diana feels a bittersweet hope take root. She doesn't know what the future holds, but for the first time in years, she's willing to explore it, not just for her own peace of mind, but for the sake of her children. In the vast expanse of the sea, under the endless sky, Diana Al-Sharif allows herself to believe that even fractured families can find new ways to grow together, one step at a time.